Hello, everyone. Welcome to Anxiety Relief and Rewiring with Havening Techniques. I'm so happy you're here. Please say hello in the chat. Let me know how you're doing today. Like the title of the live says, we are going to be doing an exercise today called Havening that will actually bring anxiety relief and rewire your nervous system response so that you have less anxiety over time if this is a thing that you practice. Because the Havening Techniques exercise I'm going to lead you through today has a cumulative effect on your nervous system and on your limbic system so that you can decrease your anxiety over time. But the exercise I'm going to lead you through today is really ideally used when you're feeling anxiety. So this week and next week, I'm doing a series on anxiety on this live stream. And this week, we're going to be talking about and practicing an exercise of what happens when I am feeling anxious right now. What do I do when I'm having anxious thoughts? So today's exercise is an exercise that I love to use when my anxiety is high, right? Like if it's a 7 out of 10, if it's an 8 out of 10, if it's a 9 out of 10, even if it's a 10 out of 10, this is a really effective exercise that only takes a few minutes and can actually bring that number down quite significantly. So that is this week because I feel like that is so important. It is so massively valuable to have a tool that you know can bring your anxiety levels down when you're really feeling anxious or when anxious thoughts are just spinning around in your head, around and around and around. So that's what is this week. And then next week, we're going to be looking at anxiety through a different lens. We're going to be asking ourselves the question and exploring our deep psyches of why do I carry chronic anxious thoughts with me? Why do I carry chronic feelings of anxiety with me? Because there are often wounds from the past or overwhelming experiences from the past or unprocessed emotions of potentially your inner child or all sorts of different things that can sit in your subconscious psyche that create those anxious feelings over and over and over again. So that's next week. We're going to be looking at anxiety through the lens of why, what's going on within me, what's happening in my body, in my psyche, what's happening on these deeper levels that continue to bring forward the anxious thoughts and the anxious feelings. But again, this week we're just looking at how do I decrease my anxiety when I am in the middle of it. So if you don't know me, my name is Karenna, and I am a trauma-informed emotional healing coach, and I specialize in helping my clients and students identify and heal the subconscious blocks, old emotional wounds, and self-sabotaging core beliefs and behaviors that are holding you back. And I just see that anxiety is a big issue. I see it in my clients and my students all the time. Oh, thank you for the heart. Um, it's really common for those of us who are sensitive to feel anxious. And it's really unfortunate because anxiety feels uncomfortable. Obviously doesn't feel good when you're feeling anxious, but it also holds us back in life, right? Like anxiety can keep us spinning in constant worry. It can hold us back from putting ourselves out there or going for big opportunities or going beyond our comfort zone. Anxiety really hates change, so it often keeps us kind of stuck, right? Instead of moving into our dreams or being really courageous in life or putting ourselves out there, it keeps us wanting to feel safe, wanting to feel small. There's a lot of there's a lot that just keeps us stuck about anxiety. It can keep us stuck in self-doubt, perfectionism, in avoidance or procrastination. I just see that at the root of so many things that we're struggling with in life are often anxious thoughts and anxious feelings. And so that is what we are going to be dealing with today. So if you showed up to this live or if you clicked the recording, then you probably relate. You probably have some experience of how anxiety is holding you back and how it would be nice to be able to move forward. So we're going to be doing havening today, and technically you're doing self-havening because you're doing it on yourself. And I have a whole video explaining the science behind havening, how havening came to be. It was created by two doctors in New York not very long ago. So if you want to learn more about that, that is linked in the description here. But what we're going to be talking about today is how to utilize a self-havening exercise to decrease your anxiety, because anxiety, and actually all emotions, they're a feeling, right? But they're also a physiological and biochemical cascade in our bodies. Like when we're feeling anxious, there are things happening in our nervous system. There are things happening in our limbic system. There are things happening in our endocrine system. There are tension patterns in our body. All these things happen very deep in our bodies. So emotions are not just in your head. Anxiety is not just in your head. And it doesn't just have to do with your thoughts. But when the biochemistry of anxiety is happening and there's that whole cascade of hormones and tension patterns, and then you will personally have familiar thought patterns of anxiety, often worried thoughts or something along those lines that are very specific to you. When that's happening, it's really hard to get out of it, right? It really feels like it feels so real, and it can be triggered by little things. If you're sensitive, just watching the news for a little while can trigger all of that physiological cascade of anxiety that goes on inside your body. And then it can be really hard to break free of that because it kind of has its own inertia, right? It kind of has this spiraling effect of like, oh, then you get more anxious, and then you get more anxious, and then you get more anxious. And an amazing thing about havening is that it can actually work with the biochemistry of your limbic system. All of the studies, again, or all of the data about this is I present it in my other video. So I'm not going to go deep into it here, but the havening touch that we're going to be doing has been shown to create delta waves in deep parts of your brain. And these delta waves can start to interrupt after only 5 to 7 minutes of the havening touch. They can interrupt this whole cascade that's going on in your limbic system, in your nervous system, in your guts, in your shoulders, everything that happens from there. And again, it only takes like 5 to 7 minutes. So today we're going to do a practice that's probably more like 7, 9, 10 minutes, just because I want to make sure that everybody really gets the experience of bringing their anxiety down. But this is an incredible tool because it helps us get unstuck. It helps the deep levels of our body and our nervous system begin to feel like it's okay again, right? So again, this is something to use ideally when your anxiety is at a 7 out of 10 or above. Although even if your anxiety is at a 3 out of 10, this can bring it down. So it's really, really helpful no matter what. So I think we should just get into it. I think we should just do the exercise. So this is the havening exercise for anxiety relief and rewiring. And again, I say rewiring because if you practice this regularly, there is a cumulative effect on your limbic system, on your nervous system, that you get sucked into anxiety a little bit less and you have a little bit more peace and safety within the more that you practice this. So definitely practice this more than just today. So we're going to start by doing the havening touch. And there's 3 ways to do the havening touch. It's really simple. You can do palm to palm like I'm doing. You can go down your arms from shoulder to elbow, shoulder to elbow, shoulder to elbow. Or you can haven anywhere on your face, cheeks, or forehead. So when I'm teaching, I just do this around my cheeks and my forehead. Sometimes I go around my hairline. But when I'm not, I sometimes just take off my glasses and just rub my whole face. But it's really whatever feels good to you. These are the 3 areas of the body that have been shown to increase delta waves in your limbic system the most. But you can do other types of soothing touch too if this doesn't work for you. Like, for example, I've worked with people who have arthritis or have injuries on their hands who have to do some sort of modified things. And I've worked with some people who just, like to do other types of havening touch. So palm to palm, down the arms from shoulder to elbow, and the face are the official havening touch locations, but you can do whatever feels good to you. So we're going to start the havening touch, and you're going to do the havening touch the whole time because, again, this is what creates that biochemical change in the deep regions of your brain that can really bring your anxiety down in a significant way. And the first thing you're going to do is you're just going to feel the anxiety in your body, right? So this is just, we're just going to take a minute to feel it because nobody likes to feel anxious. But it is kind of an acknowledgement and it is helpful for the havening touch to get to the right areas of your brain. So just feeling the anxiety more as body sensations, like where do you feel the anxiety most in your body as you tune in? Is it more on the right or the left? Or maybe it's on both sides, maybe it's everywhere. Is it more deep or superficial? Is it moving or still? Does it have a color or a texture or a shape? And you might not have answers to all these questions, and that's okay. We're just asking the questions. The answers don't even really matter that much. It's more about being curious and tuning into your body sensations. And how big is this feeling of anxiety in your body? Like, how much space does it take up within or around you? And then just rating your anxiety from 0 to 10, right? 0 is no anxiety at all. 10 is like maximum. Where does it fall right now? Okay, so you have now felt your anxiety. You have tuned into it in your body. You've rated it from 0 to 10. And now we're just going to distract your brain because we don't want your brain to be cycling in thoughts of anxiety. So, the first thing I'm going to do to help distract your brain is I'm just going to say the alphabet slowly. And you can name locations on the planet that start with each letter. So I'm going to go slowly, and I know that everybody's pace is very different. So maybe some of you will be able to name 3 places on the planet for every letter at the pace I go, or maybe you'll only be able to name one. This isn't a quiz. This isn't about doing it right or wrong. This is simply about engaging your brain in anything but the anxious thoughts. So again, name a location on the planet for every letter. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. All right, so just noticing how that feels. You're going to continue to do the havening touch, and we're going to continue to distract your brain from the anxiety because that really helps your system release it. So again, this is not a test. This is not a competition. You don't have to do this right. We're just doing an exercise to distract your brain. Go ahead and think of your full name and then spell it backwards, starting with the last letter of your last name. Spell your name backwards. Okay. And now think of your favorite place in nature or think of a really happy memory. And in your imagination, just take yourself back to that happy memory or that beautiful place in nature. And you're going to try to involve all of your senses in remembering this place in nature or this happy memory. So, noticing, look around this memory or this place in nature. And what do you see? You're still doing the havening touch, you're still breathing, but you're really going with your imagination into this happy memory or this place in nature. What colors are there? Can you identify 4 different colors that you see? What's the lighting like? Are you in shadow? Are you in bright light? Is there a color or a quality to the light? What's the temperature of the air in this memory or in this place in nature? Is there a breeze or maybe it's still? What do you hear? What's the closest sound to you in this memory? What's the softest sound that you can hear? Is there a smell or a taste associated with this memory? Are you alone? Are there other people or animals or plants? What do you sense around you? What's your posture like in this place in nature or in this happy memory? How about your breath? Like, are you breathing deeply? Are you breathing in a relaxed way? What's your breath like? And then just noticing your favorite part of this memory or this place in nature and really taking in that favorite thing. Like, why is it your favorite? What do you appreciate about it? What's so wonderful about it? Yeah, very good. So we've been doing the havening touch for a while. We've been actively distracting your brain. So just let that memory go, let that place in nature go. You can keep the feeling in your heart of that memory or that place in nature if that feels good to you. And then we're just going to do some eye movements very gently. So gently moving your eyes down and to the right and taking a breath. Bringing your eyes back to center and taking a breath. You're still doing the Havening touch. You're still breathing. Taking your eyes down to the left and taking a breath. And bringing your eyes up to center and taking a breath. And these eye movements should be gentle, no straining, no pushing. Now you're going to take your eyes in 2 circles. So up and to the right. It's a little hard to do while havening for me. Twice. And then back to center and breathing. And again, gentle eye movements. Up and to the left, doing 2 circles. Then resting your eyes and taking a breath. Then hum, row, row, row your boat. And counting from 1 to 5 out loud or in your head. Counting from 5 to 1. And again, humming, row, row, row your boat. Okay, so we have been distracting ourselves and doing havening touch for a while. So now go ahead and just take a breath. And bring your awareness back to the anxiety that you were feeling before. And how does it look different now? What's different about the anxiety now? How does it feel different now? And how would you rank it now from 0 to 10? You could even put in the chat if you want. What was your number before and what is it now? I mean, when I'm a 10 out of 10, feeling anxiety, feeling anxiousness, even just bringing it down to 7 or 6 feels like a miracle. It feels like a huge decrease. And you can even bring it down more. If you want to do this more, you can keep doing the havening touch. You can keep doing distractions, right? I guided you through doing a location for every letter of the alphabet. You could do an animal. You could do girls' names or boys' names, or for every letter of the alphabet, food. Sometimes I imagine I'm going through a grocery store and I have to put one thing for every letter in my cart. You could spell other things backwards, your address. You could count. You could start at 5 and count up by 3s for a minute. There's all sorts of ways that you can distract yourself. You can go back into other happy memories, other experiences that put a smile on your face. Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. 8 down to 3. Yeah, that's huge. Isn't that deeply significant? And what else can really do that when you're a 10 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10 of anxiety? For me, this is really kind of miraculous because it's so effective in such a short period of time. So that's that. I mean, it's as simple as that. You can keep doing the havening touch if you want, but that's the exercise I wanted to share with you today because that's kind of like the SOS, I'm feeling anxious exercise. It's deeply soothing to deep parts of your brain. Again, it takes that whole cascade of anxiety and fear and worry and all the things that happen biochemically and physiologically and emotionally, and it just soothes deep parts of your limbic system, your nervous system, your body, so that you can have a different experience. And even if you're in an anxiety producing moment in your life, like maybe you're stressed about XYZ and that has not been resolved, still you'll have a different perspective and you'll have more resources and more of your intelligence and your problem solving will be available to you when your anxiety is a little bit lower. Oh, you feel so much self-love right now. That's beautiful. I'm so happy that's what you got out of it, Deborah. Thank you for sharing. And you're welcome. Thank you for being here. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to share with you today. I love that exercise. I use it myself when my anxiety spikes because there's really nothing like it to really soothe your system. Havening, thumbs up. Yeah. Okay, you were a 6 and now you're a 4. Yeah, something definitely changed. Definitely need to implement havening in my everyday life. Yeah, that's right. I mean, I know I've said it a couple times already, but cumulative effects, like if your nervous system is used to being on edge, is used to carrying anxiety with you, then doing this regularly will create new pathways. So it's really effective if you do it every day, if you can, or whatever. But I find it really effective. So this is what to do when your anxiety is really high and you just need some relief. And next week, I hope you'll join me again because we're going to be talking more about what are the subconscious roots of having chronic anxious feelings, of having chronic anxious thoughts. A lot of us deal with that. I had almost debilitating social anxiety for most of my adult life that I was able to work through using the technique I'm going to teach next week, which is less about let's bring the anxiety in the moment down, although it will relieve your anxiety, but more about long term. Let's look at what are the roots. How do we resolve the unresolved issues deep inside that are leading to the anxiety, that are feeding the anxiety, that are creating a pattern of anxiousness in our lives? So please join me. That's next Friday at the same time, same place here on my YouTube channel. And yeah, leave me a comment about how that was for you. I really appreciate you guys being here. Hopefully, you are feeling so much better, so much less anxious. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to sign off. Have a great day.